So, trust, covenant, and unity are the words which describe the theme of the inaugural meeting of the East Ontario Regional Council, which Monika and I attended on your behalf the last weekend in May. We are in a time of restructuring for the United Church of Canada as presbyteries disappear and are replaced by seemingly more distant and larger regional governing bodies. Difficulties and conflict occur whenever there is change. Feelings of loss, thoughts that one's past activities have not been valued, and the fear that the new system will not be responsive to our needs. These thoughts exist, and all these feelings must be acknowledged. The Regional Council meeting, however, wanted to celebrate a new beginning and the opportunity to covenant anew with individuals and communities which share a common faith in Jesus Christ and a common vision for justice and healing. We needed to trust that those who worked on the new bylaws for the region did so with love and a desire to be inclusive. If there were oversights or a need for more clarity, it was due to the tight deadlines or clerical mistakes. Not because anyone intentionally meant to leave anyone out or make the lives of others more difficult. Those present seemed to understand that the documents before us were a work in progress and subject to revision. Throughout the meeting, it was evident that there was trust and an understanding that all those were present were working hard and in good faith for the future of the United Church of Canada. When we realized that it was going to be Monika and I representing the two congregations at the regional meeting, it did not make sense for each of us to go it alone. Both of us thought it was an excellent opportunity to get to know one another better so that our relationship as co-chairs of the transition team would develop and strengthen. To reduce costs to both congregations, we agreed to share a room and transportation costs. This was a mini test of sorts for the representatives of Sydenham Street and Chalmers to negotiate and be able to live together for a few days. We needed to learn about each other and negotiate our individual needs, preferences, and quirks. Did we want the air conditioner on or the window open? I learned that Monika is mostly vegan, and I really enjoy a good steak. So we had to determine which restaurant would meet both our dietary needs or preferences. We both agreed that the chosen Indian restaurant, although it advertised itself as fine dining cuisine, it wasn't really up to that, but we decided that in another sense it was just fine. We got along and we shared, and things worked out well. And as you can see, we're still on speaking terms. And I think we discovered that our essential religious beliefs are similar and consistent with the broader United Church of Canada vision. As I wrote this section for our presentation and discussed it further with Monika, it became clear to me that perhaps it would be helpful as we move forward in our relationship of joint ministry that our congregations consider what is a need, something that is required for us to feel whole and welcome, what is a preference or a desire, and what is just a quirk or a habit. What is based on long-standing past tradition that maybe doesn't apply nowadays, and what is an important memory in the history of each congregation that should be cherished, shared, and celebrated. Today, Monika and I chose to use songs from More Voices. The singing at the regional meeting was awesome. We sang before the services, at breaks, to diffuse conflict, and during the services. People were invited to join the choir for the Sunday morning service, and many did. It's so important to enrich our lives with music, and we encourage you all to consider learning new hymns. The lyrics of some of the newer hymns resonate with current concerns and can provide meaning in these times of change, while the older hymns provide us with a sense of comfort and tradition that can also be healing. There's a place for both challenge and comfort, new and old, during times of transition. In the most recent issue of Broadview, the United Church magazine, Walter Farquharson, who's written many hymns that are both in Voices United and More Voices, answers the question, why do we sing hymns at church? He says, hymns express joy, sorrow, brokenness, forgiveness, and grace. They call into questions the idolatries of the day and speak of God's love. The church has always sung hymns. Psalms were the songs of the Old Testament. Psalm 25, which we said together today, could have been sung by King David alone or by one of his many banquet entertainers after supper. It's a prayer for guidance and deliverance. The lines are short. To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. O my God, in you I trust. There is repetition, a cadence, and balance in the words, as in poetry and song. Make me to know your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Lead me in your truth and teach me. For you are the God of my salvation. For you I wait all day long. Without a doubt, the form of this psalm is that of a song or poem. And because of that, our hearts and minds are much more open to its message than if the words were presented as a lecture or sermon. Paul uses lyrical fragments, and Jesus and his disciples finished their last meal together by singing a hymn. Songs have been used to fight racism, wars, and injustice. Women, from the suffragettes to the raging grannies, have used audacious lyrics to send their messages as they fight to improve health, education, and social services. Farquharson talks about the roles hymns have in confirming our sense of unity as a community. Songs unite those who sing together to express grief and loss, but there are also songs of hope and acceptance and inclusion. He says we sing to remember that we are part of community of faith much larger than our little gatherings. We belong together, one with the generations of God's people. We sing as those freed from the chains that have bound us, whatever their nature. Singing together builds community and gives us a sense of belonging to that community.
I would like to start by sharing some observations about how the sometimes... thank you. I'll start again. I'll share some observations about how the sometimes difficult issues at this first meeting of the new regional council were negotiated. It is a covenant of sorts in this post-presbytery time, with a regional council whose territory now stretches from Kingston all the way to Toronto, one of only 16 in all of Canada with 150 faith communities. Deborah and I were both impressed with the sincere desire of all present to make the new governing region work as well as possible. When discussion was too heated, we sometimes broke for a hymn, which cleared the air, made us refocus, and it set the right tone. When criticism was voiced, it was preceded by a statement of appreciation of the other person's work and vision. We valued those good models.